NFL insider Ian Rappaport has just dropped some major details about the New York Jets' future with Aaron Rodgers. These revelations could have a huge impact on the team's strategy, not just for Rodgers but also for Davante Adams. It's time to break down what this means for the Jets. Let's dive in, but first, quick heads up. Only about 20% of the viewers are subscribed, so if you're one of the many who hasn't hit that subscribe button yet, take a moment to do so. It helps out a lot, and we've got some exciting content lined up for you. Now, let's get right to the heart of the matter. According to Ian Rappaport, who shared this news on a TV segment, his Twitter handle is @Rapsheet, New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn is open to bringing Aaron Rodgers back to the team. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers is also on board with the idea of sticking with the Jets. A few days ago, rumors surfaced that Aaron Glenn was considering Rodgers for the upcoming season, and now it's official. This news comes straight from Rappaport, one of the most trusted sources in sports reporting. So it's not just speculation anymore. We've all been eagerly waiting for clarity on this, and now we know. The question of Rodgers' future with the Jets is one step closer to being answered. This update is massive because Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talked about figures in football. Whether you're a fan or not, there's no avoiding the fact that he's a polarizing player. His influence extends far beyond the field, with his every move being scrutinized by fans and analysts alike. The way he handles the media, his performance in games, whether it's a highlight reel or a rough day, he's always in the spotlight. And now we know that both Rodgers and the Jets are open to continuing their partnership for 2025. Of course, the financial side of things plays a huge role in this. Rodgers is locked into a major contract that includes a hefty $35 million bonus, which means his cap hit is a major factor in any decision moving forward. But here's the twist. Rodgers has expressed willingness to restructure his deal in the past to help the team manage the cap better. This flexibility could give the Jets the room they need to make other moves and strengthen the roster around him. Remember last year, before the 2024 season kicked off, Rodgers took a salary reduction out of nowhere. He did this to give the Jets more breathing room to sign other players, and if he stays with the team, it's very likely he'll do the same again. This shows just how much Rodgers is invested in helping the Jets compete, not just focusing on his own payday. Aaron Rodgers isn't just thinking about money, though. For him, it's about proving himself. He's not ready to walk away after a season that fell short of expectations. With just 5 wins on the board, Rodgers is determined to show that he's still one of the best in the game. He's a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and he wants to leave a legacy that reflects his greatness. You can bet that he's looking at the season with a chip on his shoulder. He knows he has more to give, and he wants to silence the critics who've been questioning his ability. While there were some glimpses of the old Rodgers this past season, moments that reminded us of his prime, there were also plenty of struggles. Much of this can be chalked up to a mix of factors: dropped passes from wide receivers, inconsistent play calling, and, of course, his recovery from a major Achilles injury. At 41 years old, coming off such a serious injury, it's understandable that Rodgers needed time to get back to his peak form. But as the season progressed, Rodgers showed signs of improvement. In the final games of 2024, we saw flashes of the player who dominated for years in Green Bay. And now that his Achilles injury is fully healed, there's a strong chance that we'll see him back to his old self next year. Now, the big question on everyone's mind is, if Rodgers returns, what about his key receiver, Davante Adams? Well, it looks like Adams will likely stick around, but not in the same way. His current contract is set up in a way that makes it almost impossible for the Jets to keep him under his existing terms. Adams' deal was structured to make him the highest-paid wide receiver in the NFL when he signed it, but with the way the contract is written, the Jets won't be able to carry that kind of cap hit. He's actually due more money than Justin Jefferson, widely regarded as the top receiver in the league right now. Adams' contract was always a bit of a ticking time bomb, and with his age catching up to him, the Jets will have no choice but to release him after this season. However, that doesn't mean Adams is done with the team entirely. If Rodgers stays, it's likely that Adams will be back as well, but with a completely restructured deal. So expect a fresh agreement, but it won't come with the same kind of financial commitment the Jets originally made. With Rodgers likely staying, the real test will be whether the new Jets general manager wants to continue with him. Coach Aaron Glenn's recent comments suggest he's open to the idea, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's 100% committed. Saying you're open to something often means you're willing to entertain all options before making a final decision. But considering how much the Jets have invested in Rodgers and the potential upside of keeping him, it's clear that Glenn isn't ruling him out. In fact, his openness might actually signal a desire to make it work with Rodgers, That said, there's still the matter of the Jets' coaching staff. If Glenn truly wants Rodgers back, he'll need to find an offensive coordinator who can maximize Rodgers' strengths. Rodgers isn't your typical quarterback. He thrives on adjusting plays at the line of scrimmage, reading the defense, and making real-time decisions. He's a master of audibles, often changing routes based on his read of the defense. This can be a lot to handle for younger or less experienced receivers, which might explain some of the struggles with the Jets' offense this past season. This season, there were times when Rodgers' wide receivers weren't exactly on the same page. Take Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, or Mike Williams as examples. They struggled to keep up with Rodgers' quick decision-making and advanced level of play calling. For instance, in one scenario, Conklin ran a 10-yard route, but Rodgers threw the ball as if it were an 8-yard route. It wasn't a mistake on Rodgers' part. He adjusted to the defense he saw, but Conklin didn't anticipate that change, leading to an incomplete pass. This is a common challenge when you have a quarterback like Rodgers, who has years of experience and a deep understanding of the game. But his mental processing is at a level that most of his receivers aren't used to, which can cause miscommunication. But if Rodgers can have a full offseason with his receivers and avoid any rehab time, there's a strong chance they'll be able to get on the same page. If they can build chemistry in the offseason, the offense could look much more in sync next year. As for Garrett Wilson, who's considered one of the Jets' brightest stars, there have been rumors that he might want out if Rodgers returns. These reports, however, aren't entirely confirmed. While Wilson has shown frustration at times, it's hard to know how serious these reports are. But assuming that Garrett stays with the team, there's a strong chance we could see an offensive revival in 2025. Rodgers and Wilson could form a potent connection, provided they get the right offensive coordinator in place and continue to develop their rapport. In an ideal world, the Jets would keep Wilson and bring in Davante Adams, with Rodgers as the centerpiece of the offense. This trio could be a real threat if they get the right guidance from a strong coaching staff and if the players can stay healthy and in sync. There's a lot of potential here, but it all depends on whether the Jets make the right moves in the offseason. Now, if you're curious about the future of the Jets and whether Rodgers can help them contend again, you're not alone. It's all about the next steps. Who will the Jets bring in as their offensive coordinator? Will Rodgers and his receivers mesh better with a fresh start? And what will the team do about key free agents like Adams? There's a lot at stake, but the foundation is there for a bounce-back season if the Jets can make the right decisions. As we continue to watch the Jets make moves this offseason, we'll keep you updated on all the latest news, including Garrett Wilson's situation, potential coaching hires, and of course, any updates on Rodgers and Adams. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got plenty of content lined up to keep you in the loop. And that's a wrap on today's breakdown of Aaron Rodgers' future with the Jets and all the moving pieces around him, including the potential for Davante Adams to return. There's a lot to unpack, but as we've seen, the Jets are at a major crossroads, and the decisions they make in the coming months will shape their entire future. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about the possibility of Rodgers sticking with the Jets? Do you believe the team can bounce back and become contenders next season? And how do you feel about the rumors surrounding Garrett Wilson and Davante Adams? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I always enjoy hearing your opinions, and I'll be sure to reply to as many as I can. If you're new here or haven't subscribed yet, don't miss out on future videos like this one. We've got more in-depth analysis, updates, and all the latest news coming your way. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. Your support helps the channel grow, and I genuinely appreciate every single one of you who tunes in. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. It lets me know that you're enjoying the content and it helps the channel get noticed. If you think a friend or fellow Jets fan would love them, feel free to share the video with them. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, go Jets!